The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 25, Research. Lorik, Vera, Sarah, and Rowan appear in front of the academy gates. The two guards and other students entering and leaving take notice. The guards are the first to react by running up to them. Upon seeing their uniforms, they lower their weapons but don't stop approaching. "Where did you come from?" One of them asks after stopping a few feet away. "There was an incident, so our master teleported us here," Sarah says while activating her communication bracelet. A screen appears in the air above it displaying her student ID. The two guards examine it before nodding to each other and returning to their posts. The four walk through the gates and keep quiet until they are out of earshot of anyone else. "So do those assassinations happen often?" Vera asks as soon as she's sure no one can hear. "Not often, but more than you would think," Sarah replies with an awkward laugh. "How did you notify Master that quickly? I doubt you took the time to type a message to send her." Lorik asks. "No, we used this," Rowan says while holding his hand out. Mist pours off his storage ring before turning into a small finger-sized cylinder. There's a red button on top of the cylinder. If we press the button, a similar device Master keeps on her starts beeping. "Thanks for pushing me out of the way, Lorik. I didn't even notice it until it landed where I was," Sarah says. "Really?" Lorik asks, surprised. "I mean, sure it was fast, and I could only see it as a blur, but you didn't notice it before then?" he adds. "Nope," Sarah replies. "I was pretty shocked for half a second when you pushed her. I thought you had lost your mind before seeing the spear," Rowan adds. As he says this, they reach the task center. Lorik opens the door, and they enter. They walk up to the task counter. As they do, Headmaster Arlen appears next to them. He walks up to them, having been waiting near the counter. "Headmaster, may I ask what you're doing here?" The man behind the counter asks. The four hadn't noticed him before then, so they turned and looked. "I heard something happened on their task, so the device might say they received help. I can verify that they didn't and had already completed the task before then," Headmaster Arlen says, causing the man to nod. "All right, so what task are you turning in?" The man asks the four of them. "The team task for Eliminate a Flame Wolf," Sarah replies before she pulls up the task details on her bracelet. The man scans her bracelet with another device. It's a flat rectangular stone with a blue crystal at the end. The crystal emits a beam of light that lands on Sarah's bracelet. The crystal then turns red, indicating foul play. But as the headmaster vouched for them, the man ignores it and registers the task as complete. "All right, as your reward, you all will receive 400 points each and 1 team point. Don't forget that you're able to sell the Flame Wolf corpse at the trading hall," the man says before the four of them leave. "Thanks for helping, Headmaster," Sarah says to Headmaster Arlen as they walk away. "Don't worry about it. It's not like it's your fault a mage tried to kill you," he replies jokingly. "Anyway, Lorik, are you free to work on the task I gave you? That's half the reason I came down here myself," he adds, causing Lorik to nod. "Where are we going to do it?" Lorik asks as the five leave the task center. "Just follow me," Arlen says happily before walking away. "Well, I'll see you guys later," Lorik says before following the headmaster. He leads Lorik toward the staff buildings. These are buildings that are normally off-limits to students. Most of them are offices for the professors to use. There are private training rooms and small fields for them as well. The only time students are allowed to enter this area or use the facilities is if a professor approves it and the headmaster signs off on it. The headmaster leads Lorik to one of the training rooms. It's a large building about half as big as the task center. There's nothing inside, and the stone walls and roof have been reinforced with laws, making them much tougher than an ordinary building. Another man is waiting inside the room. He's sitting against the wall a few feet from the doors. As soon as Arlen opens them, the man stands up. He looks to be in his 50s and is wearing a regal blue suit. The suit is devoid of any decorations except for a golden crown over his left breast. His hair is short and bright red, matching his eyes. He has a muscular frame and is tall, creating a rather imposing figure. "Lorik, I presume? My name is Calder Morvain. I'm the King's chief researcher of laws and all things related to them," the man says while reaching his hand out. "You research laws?" Lorik asks as he shakes the man's hand. Yes, but we do more than that. The best example is your communications bracelet. Our department is the one who made those. Calder replies, Calder and I used to be colleagues before I became headmaster, but we've kept in touch since then. I asked him to come because he's been as fascinated by your new law as I was since he heard of it. Headmaster Arlen explains, Since you research laws, I have a question if you don't mind, Lorik says. Go ahead, ask me anything, Calder replies. Have you heard of monster bait? Lorik asks, causing him to nod. We used some on our last task, but I was able to smell it. The others couldn't and said that there were laws preventing them from doing so. So why was I able to smell it? Lorik asks, causing Calder to go wide-eyed. He suddenly smiles and pumps his fists. Lorik looks at him confused before Calder collects himself and holds out his hand. A white stone slab about the size of his palm comes out of his storage ring. Can you place your hand on top of this for me? He asks Lorik. Lorik nods before placing his hand on top of the slab. A dark brown mist pours off the top of his hand. A phantom Lorik appears a few inches above his hand, made up of the mist. It's see-through, just like the wolf heads that appear from his spells. Suddenly, the mist turns into veins inside the phantom Lorik. The veins run through his entire body, but aren't complex. There's a big vein, running from his head down to his chest. It branches off and runs down each limb before ending before the end of his arms and legs. Several smaller and thinner veins branch off of it, but the veins barely cover 1/3 of his body. What is this? Lorik asks as Arlen and Calder exchange a glance. It's rather well developed for a lesser mage, Calder says. Not to mention he's only a 7th tier. With this, there's no doubt. Arlen adds before Calder turns to Lorik. This device displays your body's soul veins. What do you know about them? He asks Lorik. Nothing. I've never heard of them before now. Lorik replies, That's not surprising. We don't teach it to first years. Only when you become a 2nd year do we start teaching about soul's veins. Arlen says, Soul veins are the veins in your body your soul power flows through. As you now possess a law, your law also flows through it. The reason you don't normally learn this until you're a mage is because that's when you start to use them. Lesser mages typically have less developed veins, resulting in very little changes in their body, but yours are more developed than some mages. Calder says, How are mine that developed? Lorik asks, causing Calder to smile widely. That's because your law of the hunt belongs to the first echelon. Laws of the first echelon, always without fail, cause their owner to develop complex soul veins quickly. Calder replies, That's also what separates first and second echelon laws, Arlen adds. Okay, so what does this have to do with me smelling monster bait? Lorik asks, getting more than a bit confused by all this. It's because of your soul veins that you smell them. As you know, all laws increase their mage's bodily strength. They do this through these veins. The more complex the veins, the more soul power and law that travels through the body. Calder replies, As you should know, your law is mixed with your own soul. This makes it different from the naturally occurring laws. Since this law inside you instinctually wants to protect you, it fights against other laws. So when the laws affecting the monster bait scent came into contact with you, there was a small battle between it and your law circulating in your soul's veins. Your law won, which canceled the bait's law for yourself. This is what caused you to be able to smell it. Arlen explains. Do these veins affect your eyesight too? Lorik asks after a moment of thinking. Yes, they affect all 5 of your senses. Did something happen with your vision recently? Calder asks. No, but... Lorik starts before hesitating. On our way back to the academy, we were attacked by a mage. I found out after Master came and saved us that I was the only one of us who saw the mage's first attack. They threw a spear at Sarah, and I was the only one who noticed. Lorik says. He hesitated since he wasn't sure if he could share the details of an assassination attempt. But he decided to go ahead and tell them as Arlen already knows, and Calder works for the king, or at least in the castle. I'd say that was a result of your soul's veins then. Have you noticed anything else that was odd? Any sudden increase in strength or agility, perhaps? Calder asks. No, but I've been eating demon fingers since I was young to enhance my body. Master recently tested my physical strength level, and I was at a golden 6. Lorik replies, surprising the both of them. Aside from the demon fingers, have you done anything else to train your body? Arlen asks. I work out when I get the chance. I used to do it every few days, but since I comprehended my law, I've stopped. I've been too busy training it to do my exercises. Lorik replies. Cyrilda picked up a good one, Calder says jokingly while nudging Arlen. Anyway, Lorik, are you ready to demonstrate your law? He asks, causing Lorik to nod. Calder creates dummies out of fire and spreads them around the room. The dummies have the same body shape as Calder and look like flaming copies of him. He has Lorik attack the dummies with his spells. He also has him use his soul sword to cut them down as well. Halfway through their tests, the dummies start fighting back. After an hour of this, he's satisfied. He had asked Lorik to adjust his power so he could feel the weakest and strongest attacks. As his dummies were made with his spells, he was able to get a clear idea of Lorik's attack power each time. Thank you for your time, Lorik. Your special task is now complete. But if you don't mind, I'd love to see more of your law as you level up. So once you unlock any new spells, feel free to message me. I'll give you another special task, but I can't promise any more academy tickets after this one. Arlen says while activating his bracelet. He swipes and taps through the screens before Lorik's vibrates. I will, and thank you for answering my questions. Have a good night, Headmaster Calder, Lorik says before leaving. So what do you think, Calder? Arlen asks after Lorik leaves the training room. It's certainly odd. His spells are capable of releasing shockingly strong damage despite his low level. Not to mention his veins. If I recall, Cyrilda only had veins like those when she was a second-tier lesser mage. Calder replies, Right, but most surprisingly is how you didn't recognize it. First echelon laws may not appear often, but we still have records of them. I thought for sure you'd have read about it in one of those many, many books you've read. I did too, but none of the laws I've read or heard of can create those phantom wolves. It's hard to imagine, but I think he really did discover a new law. Or at the very least, there are no records of it in our kingdom. Calder says, causing Arlen to think to himself, could it be an inheritance from ancient times? He asks, causing Calder to shake his head. If it were, he'd be more than a lesser mage by now. Besides, where would he have found it? No, I'm sure it's a new law, but I want you to keep a close eye on him, Arlen. Calder says, changing his tone from joking to serious in a heartbeat. Why? Arlen asks. When I had my fire copies fight back, I noticed his movements were too good. After pushing him a bit, that feeling only grew. That combined with what he said about seeing a mage's attack and reacting before it hit makes me think he has experience in combat. More than just with wolves and goblins. Calder replies, causing Arlen to nod. He did manage to beat the instructor during his entrance test. I didn't question it then, since I assumed it was due to his law and soul ability. But do you think it was his skills instead? Arlen asks, causing Calder to shrug. That'd be a question for the instructor. Just keep an eye on him, all right? Now if you'll excuse me, I have work I need to get back to. Have a good night, Headmaster. Calder says jokingly before leaving.